Hi Rami, how are you doing?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
Good, good. I'm doing good. Hey, first of all, I would like to thank you for being our instructor yet again, because this is already the third time that we are
I
inviting
believe
you.
so. Yes.
Yeah.
I've,
So
I've had fun. I've had fun.
good, good, good,
It's
good.
great.
And I know it was really appreciated the last two times because people were very happy with your interaction and that you were so active.
I'm a victim of social media addiction.
Good, 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 good for us. Good for us. Anyway, so regarding just to clear this out, regarding the instruction, what would you advise people to do? So this is an instruction with legs, where people are supposed to picture legs in whatever way, shapes, forms. So, what kind of advice would you give the members of the group to follow when responding to your instruction?
Well, I don't think it's anything that we don't do already. And looking at other people's legs, I think we do that anyway.
Watch out, man! You're on the record. Go on.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's all fun and games, right? It's all jokes. Okay, look. I think what we did last year was very good with the hands. But I noticed, and I think John Padler was quite observant. He said, I did hands, so why not try legs and feet and see how that goes? And I think it's a good experiment. Um, I've posted a lot of sample examples. I posted a bit of notes, which I'm sure will go up maybe before people see this interview. Um, but I think legs and feet play a real role in street photography, and and we've seen quite a number of good shots, good award-winning ones as well. And I think, but somehow it seems like the intensity of photographs with legs have gone down in the last 12 months online. I've seen less of them somehow,
Okay.
right? But it could just be a matter of being more observant. Um, we're always told to look up and look down when we're walking on the street, just so that we don't miss anything. So in this instruction, I would say, start by looking down a bit more, start being a more observant, start looking at interesting characters. You're still finding interesting situations and interesting characters, but you're just trying to involve the legs being the subject of the photographs or the feet. And so it's going to depend from one person to another, but I would say try not to forget that by photographing legs and feet, it doesn't mean that there is not going to be any emotion involved. It could still be humorous. It could still be very much um, interactive emotionally when you see it and you feel something about the legs. It's mysterious. Does it offer any character? Does it offer any uniqueness? And I think that's going to be the key in this instruction. And watch
Okay.
out for the frames, especially watch out for the frames. I know it's easier when you frame down and you're trying to clean the frame up. You're getting a lot of the ground, so it's going to be automatically. It will probably be easier to clean up the frame, but don't just attempt to frame down. You might be able to go down onto the same level, eye level, as though you're photographing children, and that might be something interesting. It might give you something interesting as well. Or look for legs in the sky. There are situations where you're going to see some legs popping up out of nowhere that shows up in the sky, and I think
Okay.
it's going to be interesting.
Good. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure the members will appreciate your insight. Hey, uh, this interview, I would like to look a bit into your career path. I mean, you went from worker in something. I don't even know what you did before you became famous as a photographer, and then you moved to photography 100%. Last time we talked, you told me that you're trying to come back again because with the family life that changed recently, you need to adjust again. So tell us a bit. How was it to what first? What were you doing before you became a photographer? What was your profession?
Um, I was a commodity trader. I was
Commodity.
in
Okay.
in commodity trading in jewelry, in silver jewelry actually,
Okay.
and it's a family business, and I was
Mm-hmm.
doing that for 14 years. Right out of college, went
Mm-hmm.
straight to work, and when I found photography, I really had a passion for it, and it was at a point where I felt like I needed a break, I needed a change, right? I felt like I was at the right point to make a shift from my what the work that I was doing before, but I didn't really know where I was going to go at that point. And when photography came in, I thought perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I could try for a few years and see where it takes me. I was
Okay.
quite open to doing it commercially when I started. I was quite open to doing commissions. I was quite open to making it a profession, right? And
Okay.
so with that open mind, I went into photography, developing my skills, um, envisioning and thinking about it as though that it could eventually one day become a job. But somewhere along the line, it turned out that I enjoyed making photographs for myself a whole lot more than making photographs for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so for about 2.5 years, I basically just made photos for myself. And this was the period that covered the project Platform 10.
When you started photographing, tell us a bit about how did it start? What were your interests immediately afterwards? Tell us a bit about that your photographic roots.
I actually picked up a camera to shoot for the first time in 2012, early 2012. Before that, it was always just point and shoot cameras and taking pictures and portraits of family and friends. But taking pictures artistically, I don't want to use that word loosely, but taking pictures for myself didn't really start until 2012, and
Okay.
that's when I started learning about composition. I started learning what are the different categories of photography. I started taking a lot of different kinds of pictures. Actually, I started from documentary. I did a bit of journalism. I did a
Mhm.
bit of modeling,
Okay.
models, a bit of everything. I think in the first year or two, and then I stumbled on street photography, and I really enjoyed it. I thought, it's the simplest way, simplest form of taking pictures, and I was free. I was actually able to just take any picture I wanted. I wasn't restrained by anyone else. It was all me. It was me in the world, and I just walk out on the street and I just take whatever picture I want, and I didn't have to depend on anyone. I didn't have to depend on the models. I didn't have to depend on a story. I didn't have to depend
Mhm.
on um, on working with other people. It was just me and what I wanted, and I think that really grabbed my attention because at that point I think I really needed to do something completely for myself, and I think that was why I was drawn to taking
Okay.
the sort of pictures that I do now.
What else apart from street photography do you do? Any commercial editorial work? So we already covered this in you already covered this in some of the answers, so
Well,
it's
okay, so
worthless.
I mean, if you want to talk about the photography bit, I mean, I'm not, when I say that I want to keep it solely as a passion, I don't mean that I just will only be taking pictures. Um, what I'm, what I'm attempting to do, and I've started a little bit of that already. So I have a
Uh-huh.
blog, Rambles blog,
Yes.
which I think I'm assuming you've heard,
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
seen a
I've
little.
read it. I've read it. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm reading.
So
I follow it
I
too.
yeah, I'd love for it to be. I'd love to be more involved with the community, right? So I think I've started this blog, which I hope to be more active with. I've taken a bit of a pause because of the new baby and the family and all in the house. So I've had to stop that for a little bit, but I'm definitely going back into it. I'm also now doing a little bit of teaching. I've started doing some workshops in Thailand. I've started teaching a little bit with with other photographers in Thailand. So
Hmm.
I teach with Street Photo Thailand on some occasions. I
Hmm.
teach with a group called Bangkok Photographers on some
Okay.
occasions. So, and I also now am now teaching at a university in Thailand as well.
Okay.
So as an assistant, as a teaching assistant for now for this year.
Mm.
I was invited to help formulate thoughts and planning process of architectural students to help them take pictures and
Okay.
communicate their thoughts. Um, so I'm very much involved with photography. I think my work plan, when I say that I don't want to do photography professionally, it's only the financial part of it. I don't want to be dependent
Mm.
on photography for finance. That's my
Okay.
goal. And in order for me to be able to maximize my role in the photographic community as much as I want to, in the way that I want to, so the less I'm dependent on it to make money for me, the better my contribution to the community, and that's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do.
What would you advise to someone that is really interested in following a career in photography, out of street photography, let's say, because you have done it on and off? What do you advise to someone that is now considering it?
Well, I think you have to first decide whether you need it to be how you want it to be, right? um, Whether it's going to be something that you want to earn money from, or is it something that you're just going to do for yourself. And I think you have to really make that clear distinction. um, if you want to be a professional photographer who earns from photography, or you just want to take pictures completely and entirely for yourself, as any artist would, right? I don't really like using the word artist, but I think that's the only way to kind of separate, um, to create a distinction in this conversation, just for just for the sake of this conversation. Let's say you want to take pictures for completely for yourself, then you need that financial support. I think you have to be reasonable with yourself about making sure that you can financially support yourself, and how much time can you give photography as an work on it as an art for yourself. And I think that's something that I had to learn along the way in the last few years, and it's something that I've come to conclude that it is strictly and solely what I would like to do, is just take pictures completely entirely for myself. And now I would just want to put a plan in place for the financial requirements in order for me to be able to keep doing this. And I think
Okay.
that's how you separate the two. But if you feel like you can do it professionally, you can take a job, you can do commissions, you can work out with other people, you can do a story, you can follow a story, and you can submit it to publications and agencies, then go for it. But be aware that you are working, that you would be taking it as work, and you'd have to deal with other people, you'd have to deal with the requirements of the agencies, requirements of the people that you work with. So you'd have to be really professional about it. You have to be very disciplined. You have to know the requirements. You have to know whether you can actually get the right financial support for it or not. And I think that's something that you really have to 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 work out before you dig your legs in.